everybody. First of all, thank you so much for sending me your questions. I thought I would go ahead and answer them for you before I head off to trivia for tonight, which is animal themed, and I'm super excited because I get to dress up like a penguin. Feel free to check out my Instagram later and see pictures from tonight because it's cute. It was a Halloween costume I had years ago. But anyway, I took the top 11 questions that I thought were the best and really interesting for you all to kind of learn about and know about me a little more. And, you know, again, if your question was not answered, I will be doing other QAs later down the road. This is just more of like, kind of get to know me. Feel free to ask me whatever you wanted as long as they were appropriate, because inappropriate questions aren't going to be answered. So, in the meantime, why don't we get started? Let's see. What is your favorite exercise? That's actually a hard one, to be honest. I love working my back. I really enjoy back day and shoulder day. So, maybe doing either lat pull downs with a cable machine or straight bar extensions on a cable machine. I think those two might be my two favorite right now, but I do love the deadlift. I just haven't had a chance to do that for a while because that's something that I'm more comfortable with when my husband can be there with me just in case something goes wrong. You know, I'd like having that little extra comfort. And with the gym being so crowded the last couple times we've been there, we haven't really had the room to deadlift, which is why you haven't seen that on video yet. But I'm hoping I will be able to get that for you soon. Do you have any siblings? I do. I have one sister. She was actually in one of my videos for National Chocolate Pudding Day, and I think she may have made an appearance in a couple others too. But she is the only sibling I have, which is enough. I love her. She's younger than me, and she's actually my best friend now, even though we had a really, really rocky start, like the first 20 years. But I love her. Where did you and your husband meet? Okay, so I don't know if I ever mentioned it in my videos. My original school was at Penn State Erie. So I was all the way at the Barron campus whenever I started. I was there for a year. And then not really having a great first year just because there was so much going on in my life at the time. I wanted to be at home. I transferred down to Penn State Fayette, which was only about 40-ish minutes from my house. And I knew of my husband whenever I first went there. I saw him in the student lounge a few times. I knew his nickname. I didn't even know what his real name was. And I just kind of always had a crush on him, you know? You just see this guy walking into the student lounge with a mohawk that stood that tall. And I don't know, there's just something about him. Never really talked, never did anything. And then the spring semester we ended up having English 202C together. And then that's how I found out what his real name was. And I just remember telling him I could get him abs in 2 weeks because he really enjoyed working out. And that's actually whenever I started going to a gym and lifting. And everything else I always just did at home. And I don't think he believed me that I could get him abs in 2 weeks. But we started working out together, and I think it was like a month, 2 months, something like that, before we actually like decided like, okay, we're gonna date. And 8 years later, here we are. What is your weakest exercise? I am terrible at chin-ups. I need to use I call it like the cheat machine, but it really isn't. Like, it's actually really good, especially if you're just learning or you're like me, you can't do chin-ups, where you put your knees down and you like pull yourself up with the weight. So I'm really terrible with chin-ups. And I'm also pretty bad at triangle push-ups. But I think overall, just in general, my chest is the weakest. So I think really compared to some of the other exercises I do and some of the other weights I do, any chest exercise for me is not going to be as strong. But I'm working on it. You know, I'm not like ashamed of that or really disappointed in it. I mean, I do break my personal records probably like once every 2 weeks, once a month, depending on the exercise. Sorry guys, Payne's like, his hair's shedding all over me right now, and I'm like breathing it in. But anything chest related, I'd say, is definitely like my weakest. Do you hide food from your husband? All the time. I really do. My parents love buying food that I shouldn't be eating right now. Like, they love getting me lunch cakes and Oreos, especially the Halloween Oreos, because I love those ones. And I have to hide it from him because they shouldn't be in our house. So every once in a while, like whenever we have like a cheat day, I'll pull them out and be like, oh hey, look what we have. I'm like, I didn't buy them, but we got it. So I definitely hide food from him all the time. Where is my favorite place to shop? Well, it depends on what I'm looking for. For supplements and workout gear, definitely IdealFit. I love their clothes. I love how comfortable they are. And I really think all their supplements are delicious. Which, by the way, they do have a new tropical dragon fruit branched chain amino acid flavor, which is just a limited time. So if you want it, I highly recommend jumping online and getting it, because I'm not so sure a flavor like that is really going to stay in stock very long, or when they're going to have it restocked if they do run out. But for workout stuff, IdealFit. For custom made things, I enjoy Roxy's Enchanted creations. She does a fantastic job with everything that she has done. She is now actually just starting to do glitter tumblers. So I'm excited because I'm gonna have to order one here pretty soon. Let's see, clothing. I love Windsor and Forever 21. Those are definitely two of my favorite shops. And then like for Halloween costumes and like your lingerie and like bras, underwear, you know, that kind of stuff, it's a toss up between Victoria's Secret and Yandy. But those are pretty much the only places I spend my money, I think. Oh, and Charlotte Russe. Charlotte Russe has really cute shoes. Girl can't go wrong with shoes. Oh boy, who is my celebrity crush? Bradley Cooper. I love him. He's just gorgeous. I mean, you can't not look at him and just be like, marry me. But it's actually really funny too, because there has been a few times where people would make a comment to me about how the Bradley Cooper who played Chris Kyle in American Sniper and is side by side of my husband tell me they almost look identical, which I find pretty interesting, because at first I didn't see a resemblance, but then looking at it I'm like, yeah, that's my husband. That's him. But Bradley Cooper is definitely my celebrity crush, with Ryan Reynolds close behind. Who is your favorite band or singer? That's actually an easy one. It's Simple Plan. I have loved them since they first came out in 2002, so that just really goes to show how old I am. But I have always loved them. There's not one album I don't own from them. There's not anything from them pretty much that I don't own. I'm part of their fan club. I have a autographed picture with 4 guitar picks up in my closet, so I get to look at their beautiful faces every time I get close. And kind of a funny story with that, last minute back in 2016, my dad made a comment to me. He was like, oh, did you see Simple Plan's coming to Pittsburgh? And I'm like, no, like I didn't see any of this. It's like 3 days before the concert. It wasn't their tour. They were opening up for somebody. I honestly don't remember who it was. And I had nobody to go with. Like, I was bawling my eyes out because I'm just like, oh my god, like Simple Plan's finally coming back to Pittsburgh. They don't do tours here. I need to see them. So my mother-in-law went with me. Knows nothing about this band. She still went with me. We had a great time. We ate at the Burgatory beforehand. And because the concert was at Stage AE, there isn't any assigned seating. So you better believe I made my way to the front of the door, made my way to the front of the stage, and I got a high five from Pierre Beaubier. So I was super excited about that. I'm still very excited about that. And I did see that they are releasing their 6th album pretty soon and going on tour at the end of the year, which unfortunately, again, not coming to Pittsburgh. The closest would be Cleveland, and I think after I kind of map quested that, it was like 6 hours from here in November through the mountains. So I probably won't get to see them unless they actually do come back to Pittsburgh again, even if they open up. But Simple Plan, always and forever. Oh, this is a good one. What is your favorite holiday and why? My absolute favorite holiday is Dia de los Muertos, which translates to Day of the Dead. It is something that I hold very dear to my heart. Again, I don't know if I ever disclosed it, but I am Mexican. I'm half Mexican, half Italian. And just everything about Dia de los Muertos, like, I don't really know how to explain it though. You know, like, people think of Dia de los Muertos, they see the sugar skulls, they see the skulls and the costumes and the face paint, and they seem to think it's just like a Mexican Halloween, which it's not even close. And what it is I'm not sure if anybody has ever seen the new Disney Pixar movie Coco that just came out, I think 2 years ago. But it kind of really helps to explain what Dia de los Muertos is. It's actually a really good movie, so if you haven't seen it, I just recommend watching it in general. But what you do is you set up an altar. Usually in the actual Mexican tradition is the altars are set up at the cemetery by the graves of loved ones. Unfortunately, can't really do that because the cemeteries here close at dusk, and it doesn't matter if it's Dia de los Muertos or not. So we set up an altar in my house, and what the altar does is it's kind of like, this is where your loved ones are going to spend the evening with you. You put their picture up on your altar, and you will have like potpourri and candles lit that were like their favorite scents, because that's drawing them back to you. It's drawing them back to where you are. And on top of that, you'll get flower petals, and you kind of like make a trail for them leading up to the altar so they know where to go. And we bake stuff. I'll make sweetbread, which a lot of people like, which I don't care too much for making it because it takes a lot of time, especially to knead it. But it's a tradition, so I just suck it up and do it, and it does taste really good whenever it's done. But as far as the sugar skulls goes, I don't make those. I have looked into it, and some of the stuff requires an actual, like, a lot of authentic, this is the type of sugar you need, which I can't find at a normal grocery store. I'm honestly not even sure where I would find it, which is why I can't make the sugar skulls, because it is very particular. But you just sit around and, you know, we do. Like, I will wear roses on my head. I will dress for the occasion. I don't paint my face because I'm not very good at that. But you sit around with your family and you just tell stories about the time they were here and what you did and how you felt. And it's just kind of like reliving the past. But it's a good thing. Like, Dia de los Muertos is a very good thing, because in the Mexican culture, this is where we are now is considered hell. There is no hell beneath the earth. Earth is hell. And whenever you move on, your soul isn't suffering anymore from whatever it may have been. You are now in heaven. So it's kind of like a celebration that, yeah, they're not here anymore, but they're where they need to be. They only left their body on earth. Their spirit is still here with you every day. And so I think that's just kind of like why it's my favorite, because I was very, very close with my grandparents who both aren't here anymore. So just being able to really like share what they were and who they were with my husband and friends and family. It's just really meaningful. And Dia de los Muertos, I think, will always be my favorite holiday. Although Halloween is second, just because I love dressing up in costume. I mean, obviously, if you follow me on social media, you see me every Thursday dressed for whatever theme is. But I'd have to say that. Okay, what is your favorite animal? I love penguins, and I love dolphins, and lions, and leopards, pretty much everything. But I think if I had to absolutely pick one, it would be a penguin. They're just so fun. They're so lovable. There's just, I want to love them. They're so cute. All right, so the last question for you all, which I do hope you learned something, especially more about me and a little bit of my quirkiness. But here's the final question. How did Pain and Panic get their names? If you don't know, Pain is my male cat, Panic is my female cat. We got them whenever they were born, pretty much. Like, we got them at 6 weeks from my sister-in-law's friend. And before we picked them up, I told my husband he could name our cats as long as they were Disney names. And we just kept we would take turns like throwing names back and forth, see which one was like really good. And he said Pain and Panic, like the sidekicks from Hercules. And I'm just like, I'm thinking about it, and I was like, do I really want my cats to be like Hades' sidekick? Because, you know, Hades was the villain in the movie. And I was like, yeah. I was like, I like it. So we settled on those names, and we went and we picked our kittens up. And as crazy as it's going to be, they will be 4 this Sunday on August 25th. And we brought them home. And after some time, you know, after they started to adjust to us, it turns out they live up to their names. Like, to the T. Panic is very timid. She won't approach you unless she knows you. She pretty much like goes by her own terms, and then like anything, like there's like thunder or like if we drop something or anything that's like really loud, she gets spooked. So Panic is definitely panicky. And Pain, I'm sure you figured out, lives up to his name. He's the alpha cat, or so he thinks. And he loves to play. He has no problem scratching you or biting you, but he is very social. Like we joke around a lot and say he's like a dog, because he really is. Like, he'll follow you. His tail's like nonstop wagging. He sleeps with you. He is currently chasing a fly. But he's more like rough. Like, Pain is our playful kitten, where Panic is panicky. And being that we named them before we even picked them up just made it even better. But yeah. So those are the questions that I picked out for you. Please feel free. I want to know what some of your answers would be to my questions. I want to know really just like whatever you want to share. Like, feel free to comment below, because I never miss a comment. I always reply to your comments once I see them. And it's really fun kind of like knowing a little bit more about somebody, especially when you follow them and you're a fan of them. So just kind of just general questions, you know, feel free. And like I said, I will do more question and answer videos in the future. So if one of your questions weren't picked, ask it again. Eventually I will answer them, because I won't do repeat questions. But in the meantime, I am going to go ahead and get ready for some trivia, since I have to leave in a half hour. And until then, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on social media, and as always, I will chat with you guys later.